Hi guys, my name is Shika and I'm going to be making my crochet bonnet that I've had a lot of requests for a tutorial for. I've had a lot of people ask me for a tutorial on this bonnet, so I'm going to be making the bonnet today. So the materials that I'm using today are going to be this white thread. I don't really want to use a new thread, so I'm just gonna have to be using this one. And I'm also going to be using a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, and I'm also going to be using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. I would recommend a 6 millimeter crochet hook if you have it, but I don't have a 6, so I'm going to be using a 5.5, a 4.5, a thread. I'm going to be using a stitch marker, and that's basically what you're going to need for this entire tutorial. It's a simple tutorial, so I'm going to be using this, and let's get into the tutorial. So for this bonnet, I'm going to be starting with the 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, and I'm going to put the 4.5 aside. We're going to use that later on, but for most of the project, we're going to be using this hook. And the stitches we're going to be using are single crochets, slip stitch, and a half double crochet. That's basically all we're going to have to use for this tutorial. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a magic ring. So let's do that again. You're going to twist like this and like that, and you're going to cross it over like that. So you're going to make a magic ring, and you're going to insert your hook like this and under like that, just like that, and then you're going to pull that one from under there and bring it up. So that's how you're going to make the magic ring. So this is our magic ring. This is what we're going to be starting our tutorial with, or our bonnet with. And after this point, you're just going to chain up 3. So you're going to yarn over like this. You're going to chain up 1, yarn over, chain up 2, yarn over, chain up 3. So this is how it looks. That is chain 3, and this chain 3 counts as our first half double crochet, chain 1. So this is 1 half double crochet and chain 1 in between, because we're going to be putting chain 1s in between for the width of the bonnet. So after you chain 1 like this, you're going to now go in and make a half double crochet. You yarn over, insert your hook in the circle here like this, and then you yarn over again like that, and then you yarn over, you pull through the first 2. You're going to have 2 more left on your hook. You just go again and pull through like that. So that's basically how we make a half double crochet, sorry. And after that, you're going to chain 1. After chaining 1, you're going to yarn over, make another half double crochet like that, yarn over again, pull through 2 of them, and you're going to have 2 on the hook, pull through the last one. And that's how we make our half double crochets that we're going to need for this tutorial. We need 10 half double crochets for this round, the first round. So we're going to go ahead now and place, this is 3. We're going to go ahead and place 7 more half double crochets in here, and I'll meet you back at the end for the next round. So I am back with my 10 half double crochets that I've done in the first round. So now we count, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And don't forget to chain up 1. But at the end here, I usually like to do chain 2 because I like to create more space in the rounds. So you chain up the 1 right at the end here, and you go ahead and chain 1 more. That's gonna be 2. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna close the circle. You hold this end right here, and you just pull on it. Pull on that until it's closed. See, now you have to have it like that. Put this one at the back of the project, and we're going to now go in our first space here between our chain 3 that we count as our first double crochet, our first half double crochet, sorry. I don't know what's wrong today with my tongue. So we're going to go in that space right there between here. We're going to go in there and place our slip stitch. So we go in, we yarn over, we pull that up, and we go and pull it to the end like this. So that's how we do our slip stitch to end our round. So now we move on to the next round. This is the first round. This is how it's supposed to be looking. Nothing different, nothing more, nothing less. So this is how it's supposed to be looking. Now we move on to the next round. For the next round, we're going to chain up 3, which counts as our first half double crochet. 2 and 3, half double crochet, chain 1. That's it right there. And then we are going to go into this space that we placed our previous slip stitch, and we're going to yarn over, and we're going to insert our hook into that space right there. Insert our hook there. We're going to yarn over it again, pull up that loop, and then we're going to yarn over and make our half double crochet like that. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to yarn over and chain 1. Always don't forget to always put your chain 1s in between, and at the end you're going to chain 2 before you slip stitch into the first half double crochet of that row. So don't forget that. That is crucial to this entire project. So we're going to yarn over again, and now we have 2 half double crochets in this space right here, and that is how we want it to be. We're going to be making increases now, so we're going to go into the rest of these spaces in between. We're not going into no stitches, the rest of these spaces in between here, and we're going to go in with 2 half double crochets until we reach the end. So let me just do it one more time so you can see. We yarn over like this, we insert our hook into that space right there, we pull up the loop, and we yarn over again, and then we make our half double crochet. We chain 1, and then in that same space we're going to go in with 1 more half double crochets like that. And we chain 1. So that's how we're going to be doing. That's what we're going to be doing for this tutorial. See right here, this row, we're going to be increasing. So 2 half double crochets in each of these spaces right here. Don't forget your chain 1s in between, and also your 2 chains at the end of the row before slip stitching. So I'll meet you back at the end when I'm done doing my increase rounds. So I am back with my increase rounds. I have done it, and I am at the end now of my increase rounds. I placed 2 half double crochets in each of these spaces right here. As you can see, that's how it looks. And now we're just going to, I already chained up 1 after the last half double crochet. We're going to now chain up 1 more like that, and we're going to insert our hook into this first space right here between the chain 3 and the other half double crochet. So we insert it right here, we pull up the loop like that, and then we pull that loop into the last one. So that is how we do our slip stitch again. Now we just have to continue doing our normal rounds. So for the next round, these are the first 2 rounds. For the next round, we're going to be doing normal half double crochets, which is no increase rounds. We're just going to be doing 1 half double crochets in each spaces between here till we reach the end. So let me just show you an example of that. So we've done our slip stitch right here. Now we're just going to yarn over, chain 3 like that, and then we're not going to be inserting anything in this first space because these chain 3s counts as our first half double crochet, and since we're doing normal double crochets, we don't really need to insert anyone here again because we're not increasing. So we're going to leave that. This is for this space right here. We're going to yarn over. We're going to skip this first space right here that has the chain 3 because that is a half double crochet. We're going to go into the second space, not this one right here. We're going to go into that second space with a half double crochet like that. Yarn over, chain 1. That is it. So this is how it's supposed to be looking. Now we're going to yarn over again and insert our half double crochet in the next space right here, and we're going to make a half double crochet right there and chain 1. So that's how it's supposed to be looking. Let me do one more. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook in the next space right here, yarn over, pull through, and chain 1. That's how we are going to be doing this round. So we're going to do this in each and every space right here until the end of the round, and I will be right back. So I'm back with my normal half double crochet rounds, no increases. This is how it's supposed to be looking right now. This is exactly how it's supposed to be looking. So I chained up my 2 at the end right here. I'm just gonna go ahead now and slip stitch into the first space like that, and we pull up the loop on the last one just like that. That's how it's supposed to be looking, nothing more, nothing less. So for the next round, these are the first 3 rounds. For the next round, which is round 4, we're going to be repeating the same thing we did for round 3. So we just chain up 3 like that, and we skip this first space, and we go into the second space with a half double crochet and chain 1. So we're going to be continuing until we reach the end of the round, and I'll meet you there. So I am back with my normal rows of half double crochet, for row number 4. And now we're just going to insert our hook in this first space here, and we're going to slip stitch. So that's row number 4 right there. We're going to chain 3. And now for row number 5, there are going to be some slight differences in the increase rounds. We're going to be increasing, but there is some slight difference in the increase rounds. So we're going to yarn over as usual and insert our hook in the first space and make our half double crochet like that. So for the first one, it's 2 half double crochets, so that's an increase right there. We're inserting it in the first space, don't forget, that's an increase right there. So now the difference here is that we're going to yarn over and go into the next space right here, but we're not going to be placing 2 half double crochets in there. We're going to be placing 1. So we go in there with 1 half double crochet, yarn over, and chain 1. So that's it right there, 1 half double crochet, and then we yarn over, and in the next space we're going to be placing 2 half double crochets. So you see the difference? We're going to insert our hook right here, place our first half double crochet with chain 1, don't forget our chain 1s, we yarn over, and in that same space again we're going to go in there with 1 more half double crochet, just like that. That's how we're going to do it. So we're going to keep doing this 2 1 2 1 2 1 until we reach the end of the row, and I'm going to be meeting you back when we reach the end, sweeties. So I am back with row number 5, and we're at the end right here, and you're supposed to be ending with 1 half double crochet in the last space. So if you ended with 2 half double crochets, you just have to go over and check again, because that's not right. We're supposed to be ending with 1 half double crochet. And yeah, so now we chain our 2 at the end, and we're going to slip stitch in the first space, and we yarn over, chain 3. So now for row number 6 until row number 8, we are going to be repeating the same thing as row number 5. So I'm going to be going over this with you this is what we're going to be doing until row number 8. So we have 5 rows right now. We just need to do 3 more rows to reach to row number 8. So we continue on the 2 1 2 1 until we reach row number 8. Don't forget your 2 chains at the end of each row before you slip stitch into the first space. So I'll meet you back at row number 8. So I am back with row number 8. I have done every single increases already until we reach row number 8. So this is how it's supposed to be looking. It looks a little bit like a ruffle right now, you know, it looks a little ruffly or however they say it. I'm sorry for the background. I haven't really gotten a better camera angle yet for these videos, but I promise I'm going to work on a better one next time. So now we're at the end of row 8 after doing every single increase. I ended with a half double crochet in one space, just one. So don't end with 2 now, baby girl. End with 1. So now we go into the first space right there, and we yarn over and we slip stitch as usual. And now we are going to be doing normal half double crochets in each stitches until we get our desired size. So this one now, this was the shipping of the bonnet. Now we're just going to have to be doing the size that we want to do. So for me, I am doing a size large, and I'm going to be doing these normal rows until I reach row 19. So we're at row 8 right now. If you want to do a small, like for a kid, you're going to have to do like 14 rows. If you want to do a medium, you're going to have to do 16 rows. And if you want to do a large / jumbo, you're going to have to do more rows, as many rows as you want. This is your bonnet. You can do whatever you want with it. So yarn over. Now we're going to be doing normal, don't forget. So we're going to be going in this space right here and yarning over. We skip this one, the first space, because it already has the 3 chains there. That counts as a half double crochet. So we make our half double crochet in the next space right there, like that. And then we yarn over and go into the next one again, chain 1, like that. Yarn over, go into the next one, chain 1, like that. So we're going to be continuing this until we reach the end of the row right here, and I'll meet you back there. Okay, so I'm back with my normal rounds of crochets, and this is how it's supposed to be looking. So let me just put that down for you to see. This is how it's supposed to be looking. No increases. Again, you see that? No increases on this round. So at the end here, we always chain up our 2, and then we go into the first space and we make our slip stitch right there. So we're going to be continuing these normal half double crochets until we reach our desired size. And for me, I'm going to be crocheting until I reach row 19. So yeah, continue crocheting until you reach the size you want to make for your bonnet, and I will meet you at the end of when you get your desired size. Okay, so I am done doing my normal rows of half double crochets, and I'm sorry for the camera angle again. I ordered a tripod and it hasn't come yet, so we're just gonna have to do with this for now. So this is how it looks after I did all my rows that I needed for my bonnet. So when I look at this now, I know very well when I put it on my head, it's going to be, you know, it's gonna look good. So I decided to stop at this. I made 19 rows instead of 18. Yeah, because I just wanted to create more space for it. So I made 19 rows instead of 18. So this is it. Now we just gonna close this up with a slip stitch like that with chain 1. And for my project, I decided that I wanted the rest of the bonnet to be white, and then the band of the bonnet to probably be yellow, gold yellow. So I decided that I am going to change a color here and change it to gold yellow. But if you want it to be one color, you can continue crocheting. You don't need to cut anything out or change anything. So I'm going to be using my scissors now, and I'm going to be cutting my thread like that. And I will just put I'll just put the hook in here and put that out, and yeah, make sure it's secure. I'm going to probably weave that in, or I might leave it like that because I don't really like to weave in. But yeah, this is how it looks right now. So now let's get back to doing the band of the bonnet. So we're back to this angle. It's kind of funny, but I just like the way I've been switching angles today in this one video. So this is the thread I'm going to be using for the band of the bonnet. So let's just get into it very fast. If you're not changing color, just continue doing what you're doing. So I am going to attach my new color to the bonnet. Insert that like that. And I'm going to chain up one, just so it's tight and it's not loose or anything like that. So now for this round, it's easy to do, but I just have to go over it with you guys so that we don't make any mistakes. So we just like that, and then we slip stitch. So for this round, we're just going to be slip stitching into each and every space in the bonnet. So we've done our first slip stitch. We just go into the second one with another slip stitch. Make sure it's tight because you want the bonnet to come together so that it can be looking like a bonnet, not like the flag we already have right now. So let's continue. In the next space, we're going to insert our hook and put our slip stitch. In the next one, insert our hook and slip stitch, and in the next, insert our hook and slip stitch. So we're going to be doing this until the end of the round, and I will meet you back when we're done. Okay, so I am back, and I have done all my slip stitches in all the spaces that I needed to do it. This is the last one before we join it to this one. So I just wanted to put the camera like this to show you guys exactly how it's supposed to be looking right now. This is not the fitted part yet, but this is like getting closer to making it fit on your head. So let's get into the part where you're going to now make it to go to the size of your head. Okay, so now all we have to do here is go in this first space right here. You see the space right here? This is the first slip stitch we did in this space. We are going to skip that. We're not going to be working in the spaces no more. We're going to be working in the slip stitches. You see these V's that we have right here that looks like chains? Those are the ones we're going to be working in from now on. So we're going to skip this space right here. And in this first V we see at the top here in the yellow line, that's why I decided to use a different color, because I wanted to make sure you can see the difference to work in it. So we're going to be going in this first place right here, and we're going to be slip stitching in that first V like that, and then we put that up and we slip stitch. And now I am using my 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, just to be precise. That's the one that I'm using. So for this round, that's the one we're going to have to be using. And now we're going to chain up one like that. We chain up one, and in that same space that we slip stitch, you see there, in that same space that we slip stitch, we're going to insert our hook like that. We're going to insert our hook like that, and we're going to make a single crochet. So now we're going to be using single crochets and slip stitch. So let's go on. We're going to make our first single crochet like that. That's our first single crochet that we're going to make. And now that's when we introduce our stitch marker. We're going to put our stitch marker in the first single crochet that we made. So like that. That's how we're going to do it. And then now we're going to be decreasing a little more so that it can fit on our heads. So we skip the second V right here. After this first V that we made our first single crochet in, this one, we're going to skip this one. We're going to skip this one right here, and we're going to go into the third one. There, we skip this one, we go into this one right here, and we're going to place a single crochet. Make sure as you're working, you're making sure your stitches are tight, because we're decreasing and we don't want it to be loose. So we go like that, and we're going to skip the next one again, that one, and we go into this one right here and do our first our single crochet, sorry. And we skip the next one again, we go into this one right here and do our single crochet. So now we have the band forming, and we are also making sure that it's decreasing enough to fit on our heads. So I'm going to be doing this right now until I have 25 single crochets. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 single crochets. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 single crochets. We're going to be doing skip 1 slip stitch and insert your hook in the next slip stitch and make a single crochet until we have 25 single crochets. So keep doing that, and I'm going to meet you at our 25 single crochet. Okay, so I am back after I did my 25 single crochets by making sure I skip 1 slip stitch and insert my hook in the next slip stitch and make a single crochet. So for me now, this is fitting on my head very properly. But if yours is not still the size or the fitting that you want it to be, you can keep making your single crochet by skipping 1 slip stitch and putting your single crochet in the next until you have the fitted one. So now, since I already have my 25 single crochets and I already decreased enough, I don't need to decrease no more. Now we're just going to be going into our slip stitches with normal single crochets. No skipping any slip stitch at all. Just go into the rest of the slip stitches we already have with normal single crochets until we reach the end of our row, which is near the stitch marker right here, until right here, and I'm going to meet you back when we get there. So continue making your single crochets in each and every slip stitches until you reach at the end of the row. All right, we are done with single crochets for row number 1 for the band of the bonnet, and as you can see, it's looking fitting. And now we're just going to slip stitch. We're going to remove our stitch marker here. Remove that. We're going to need it for every single row from now on, but remove it at the end whenever you come to it, and you just slip stitch, insert your hook in the first single crochet there like that, and you're going to slip stitch like that. So this is how it's supposed to be looking, and then we chain 1. For row 2 now, we're going to be making single crochets into each and every stitch until we reach the end of this row. So now we're going to insert our hook where we place our first slip stitch. I'll slip stitch at the end of the last row. We're going to insert our hook there like that, and we're going to pull up a loop and make a single crochet like that, and then we're going to insert our stitch marker. So that's our first single crochet, and from now on we're going to place single crochets in each and every stitch until we reach the end of the row, until we come back right here. Okay, I am back at the end of row 2, and we're removing our stitch marker again, and we're inserting our hook into the first single crochet there and slip stitching. So From row 3 to row number 6, we're going to be doing normal single crochets all around and slip stitching at the end, chaining 1, and then continuing again. Okay, so we are done doing our 6 rows of single crochet. This is how it's supposed to be looking right now. We don't want it to be big. I know why I said we don't want it to be big, because we're going to increase the length of it anyhow. So we slip stitch into the first single crochet as usual, and then we chain up 1. But we're not going to be continuing right now. We're going to be doing something else now. So we are going to cut off our yarn and tighten that just like that. So now we're going to be making the rope of the bonnet that we're going to use to tie, you know, to give it that more stylish look. So we're going to set the bonnet aside for now, and then we come back to the rope. Okay, so now we are at the chaining of our bonnet rope. So we're going to make a slip knot like that, and we're going to chain up 70. So we yarn over like that, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So we're going to be making 70 of these, and I'll meet you back when we have exact 70 chains. Okay, we now have our 70 chains. This is how it's supposed to be looking now. So now we go back to our bonnet. We're going to be attaching our chains to our bonnet. So this is how we're going to be doing it. Pay key attention. So where we cut off our yarn at the end of our row there, right there, we are going to be inserting our hook right in there. I don't know if you can see that clear, right in there. And then we're going to be weaving in this end as we go. So we're going to make sure it's lined up like this. So now we yarn over like that. We pull through, and we yarn over again and pull through all of it. So we're going to be making, that is a single crochet. We're going to be continuing our single crochets from now on. After we attach our chains to the bonnet, we're going to be continuing our single crochets from now on. So we continue, insert our hook, and like that. Wait, let me take this scissors off here. Insert our hook and yarn over and make a single crochet. Insert our hook, yarn over, make a single crochet. So I forgot to mention a key point before we continue. Let me mention that. So this is where the first rope is going to be starting at the back of our heads, and now we just want to make sure we know where we're going to be putting the next rope and where it's going to be starting from. So for me, I decided to count 20 stitches in between, and I will add a stitch marker so that when I single crochet, I know where to stop for the next rope. So that is my 20th stitch away from the first rope, and we're going to be inserting our stitch marker in there. So this is going to be for the back of our head. See that? That's the space that I want mine to be. You could make yours smaller or you could make it bigger, however you want it to be. But this is the space that I want to be at the back of my head, and this is where the first rope is going to start from. This is where the second rope is going to start from. We continue now to do our single crochet until we reach to this stitch marker right here, and then I'm going to be showing you how to make the chains for the second rope. So I am back to the stitch marker here. I single crochet and I reached the stitch marker. Now we're going to take out our stitch marker right here, and we are going to insert our hook in that space where the stitch marker was, like that, and make our single crochet. So now since we made, sorry for the noise in the background, since we made 70 chains on this side, we are going to now be making another 70 chains on this side. So that's 1, That's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, that's 6, 7. So we're going to be continuing until we reach 70 chains. So I am done with my 70 chains on this side. Now it looks like this. This is the entire thing and how it looks like. We're now going to be working in the chains around, and we go to the next one and come back to this one. We're going to be doing that until we have our desired size of how we want the bonnet band to be. So let's just get into that. So we have 70 chains here. We're going to chain up 1 like that, and we're going to skip that 1 chain that we did and go into the second chain from the hook, and we're going to insert our hook into that like that, yarn over and make a single crochet. You don't need to put a stitch marker here because you already know that this is the first single crochet, but you can put a stitch marker if you want. And now we're going to go into the next chain, and we're going to insert another single crochet, and into the next chain we're going to insert another single crochet like that. So this is how it's supposed to be looking, and we're going to make single crochets all the way until we reach the end of the chains right here, and I'll meet you back when we get there. Okay, I did my single crochets in the chains. This is how it's looking. That's how it's supposed to be looking. And now we are at the beginning right here where we're supposed to be continuing our single crochets. So there's nothing that's gonna change. You're just going to insert your hook in this first single crochet right here, right there, and you're going to make a single crochet. And then in the next one again, you insert your hook and you make a single crochet. So continue doing that until you reach here, and when you reach this point, you just make single crochets in the rest of the chains until you reach the end, and I'll meet you back when we get to the end. Okay, so I am at the end of the second chain right here, and I already placed all my single crochets in here. Now we are at the end. What's next now is for you to chain up 1 like that, and then we're going to turn our work like this. This is the side we're going to be working on, not this side, this side. So we yarn over, we're going to insert our hook in the first single crochet space there, and we're going to pull up a loop and make a single crochet. So that's how we're going to be working from now on. Insert our hook there and make a single crochet. Insert your hook, make a single crochet. So we're going to be doing this for as many times as we want. Just keep single crocheting until you reach this side of the rope, and then you chain 1, turn around and keep single crocheting until you reach this side. Keep doing that until you have your desired size of the band you want and the rope. So you can crochet as many as you want, but I recommend don't crochet too much because it's going to cover your eyes. So you don't want to do that. So just keep crocheting until you have your desired size for your band, and that should be it. I'll meet you when I'm done with mine. So I am done with my rows for the rope of the bonnet, and this is how it's looking. Yeah, this is how it's looking now. The rope is pretty good. I think that's really good. You don't need to make it too big. So I made 4 rows for the rope, and then I decided to add this little shell stitch right here, but I didn't put that in the tutorial. I'm really sorry, I forgot. So yeah, I decided to do this, and this is how it's looking now. And now I'm just gonna tie my loose ends and cut the excess yarn off like that. Just make that, and then you cut it off. Now that is it. That is all we actually had to do. So now let me just try it on so you can see. So this is how it's looking. It's pretty good, pretty beautiful, and it has the ruffles in. So when you have like extensions on, you're still going to, it's still going to hold your hair the way it's supposed to hold it. So thank you very much for watching my tutorial. Please like and subscribe, please. And also leave a comment in the comment section and tell me how this tutorial was. And yeah, just good luck on making your bonnet. Bye.